You might be destroying this powerful gut bacteria without knowing. Most people eat every day, but almost no one realizes. Some of the foods they trust the most might be working against them. Not instantly. Not in a way you can feel, but slowly. Over time, they're weakening something inside your body. Something that affects your gut, your immune system, and how stable your health really is. And here's the uncomfortable truth. There's a good chance you're doing it right now. Even if you think your diet is healthy, because this isn't just about junk food. Some of the biggest problems come from what you're not eating, and that's where everything starts to change. The people who understand this tend to feel different. More stable digestion, more consistent energy, fewer unexplained issues. Almost like their body is working with them, instead of constantly trying to recover. So what's the difference? It comes down to something most people have never even heard of. A bacteria inside your gut called Akkermansia muciniphila. And what it does is surprisingly powerful. Imagine your gut like a protective barrier. Everything you eat, everything you drink, everything that enters your body has to pass through it. And that barrier decides what gets through and what doesn't. Now along that barrier, there's a thin protective lining. And living right on that lining is Akkermansia. Here's where it gets strange. This bacteria survives by feeding on that lining, which sounds like a problem, but it isn't. Because every time it feeds, your body rebuilds that lining. Stronger, thicker, more stable, almost like it's being trained to defend you better. Now imagine what happens when that bacteria disappears. The lining weakens, it becomes thinner, more fragile, small gaps begin to form. And when that happens, things that should stay inside your gut start slipping through. Your immune system reacts. Inflammation begins to rise. And this is where small daily habits quietly turn into long-term problems. Not overnight, but slowly, through what you eat every day. Now here's why this matters more than people think. When Akkermansia levels are healthy, research suggests your gut barrier is stronger, inflammation is lower, your immune system is more controlled. Not overreacting, not missing real threats, just working the way it's supposed to. But here's the part most people overlook. This bacteria doesn't fix problems for you. It helps your body function properly, so it can protect itself better. And when it's gone, that's when things start becoming less stable. So let me ask you something honestly. If your daily meals rarely include fiber-rich or polyphenol-rich foods, there's a strong chance your gut bacteria is already struggling. Most people don't realize this until symptoms show up later. Now here's where everything starts to shift. Because not all healthy foods actually help this bacteria. Some barely make a difference, while others quietly change everything. And this is the moment most people miss. You're not just eating food, you're feeding an ecosystem that decides how your body behaves. Once you understand that, everything about how you eat starts to look different. Let's start simple. Garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus. These contain prebiotic fibers that feed beneficial bacteria. That's a solid foundation. But here's the catch. That alone isn't enough. Because Akkermansia thrives best when something else is present. Something most people completely ignore. Polyphenols. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some of the most powerful foods for this bacteria don't look impressive at all. Take cranberries, small, tart, often ignored. But they contain compounds linked to supporting Akkermansia growth. And just when people think they understand it, this is where it changes again. Pomegranate, not just another fruit. It helps support your gut lining while feeding beneficial bacteria at the same time. But here's the one most people consume regularly, without realizing its impact. Green tea. It contains catechins, compounds that help create the kind of environment where this bacteria thrives. Now here's where people usually pause. Dark chocolate. Yes, chocolate. But only when it's high in cocoa. But here's the key. It needs to be at least 70% cocoa. Why? Because cocoa contains flavonols, powerful compounds that act like fuel for beneficial bacteria like Akkermansia. Chocolate with less than 70% cocoa usually has too much sugar, which can feed harmful bacteria instead and counteract the benefits. Stick to 70 to 85% dark chocolate, and even a small square a day can support your gut while satisfying a sweet craving. And just when this starts to feel predictable, here's another one people overlook. Grapes, especially darker varieties, packed with polyphenols that support a healthier gut ecosystem. But here's the mistake most people make. They pick one or two of these foods and expect results. That's not how this works, because your gut isn't just one bacteria. It's an ecosystem. And ecosystems need diversity to stay stable. That's why foods like berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries are so powerful. They combine fiber and polyphenols, making them one of the easiest ways to support your gut daily. Now let's go deeper, because some foods don't just feed this bacteria, they improve the entire environment. Take artichokes, loaded with prebiotic fiber. They help create the conditions Akkermansia needs. Same with leeks and asparagus, working quietly in the background, supporting your gut with every meal. Now here's something almost no one expects. Fatty fish, salmon, sardines. They don't feed the bacteria directly, but they reduce inflammation, which makes it easier for beneficial bacteria to grow. And sometimes, the smallest details matter the most. Like the peel of an apple. It contains pectin and polyphenols, both of which support your gut. Or nuts like hazelnuts, pecans, helping maintain balance in your microbiome. But here's where things get really interesting, because sometimes it's not just what you eat, it's what happens after. Take potatoes or rice. Eat them fresh, they digest normally. But let them cool, and they form resistant starch, a type of starch your body can't fully digest, so it reaches your gut intact and becomes fuel for beneficial bacteria. And when bacteria break it down, they produce compounds that strengthen your gut lining and help reduce inflammation. Now here's something that changes everything. It's not just about what you eat. It's also about when you eat. Giving your body longer breaks between meals, like intermittent fasting, may help create conditions where Akkermansia can grow, allowing your system time to reset. Now step back and look at the bigger picture. This isn't about one superfood, it's about patterns, because inside your body, there's an ecosystem reacting to everything you do. Every meal either supports it or slowly works against it. And over time, those small daily choices shape everything. Your gut strength, your inflammation levels, your overall balance. So the next time you eat, pause for a second and ask yourself, am I feeding what protects me or what slowly breaks me down? Because most people never stop to think about this. They keep eating the same way without realizing what's happening inside them. But now you do. And that awareness alone can start changing your health over time. So if this made you see food differently, take a second to hit the like button so more people can discover this. And if you want more simple explanations about what's really happening inside your body, make sure you subscribe.